Hello, Mr. Harry, Mr. Roy, and I, right? Yeah? Okay. So, I put a zero here. So, you know the subarray, right? Subarray continuous. Subarray as to subsequent. Subsequence is not continuous, right? Subarray like 1, 2, 3. If this is array, subarray 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, continuous. Subsequence does not have to be continuous. 1, 1, 3, 2, right? So subsequence and subarray. What's the relation between subsequent and subarray? Is subarray a subsequence or is subsequence a subarray? Subarray is continuous, right? Subsequence doesn't have to be continuous. So is subarray a subsequence?
Subarray is a subsequent.
Yes, but is subsequence a subarray?
No.
No, that's right. So subarray is a subsequence. So subsequent outside, right?
And the coincidence.
Yeah, subarray here, right? Subarray is a subsequent, okay? So okay, so zero. I have an array contains only zeros. You want to find out the total number of subarrays containing the zeros only. For example, like how many subarrays containing zero? In this case,
1.
1 exactly. How many subarrays containing zeros? How many subarrays are there? Not empty. You know, empty is also a subarray, but we excluding empty here. So how many subarrays here?
3.
3. Okay. Yeah. So here is 1. Here is 3. Okay. Keep going. If I put one more, how many subarrays?
6.
Okay. I put one more.
10.
Okay. So what's the thing? What have you learned?
Triangle.
What have you learned? Triangle. Oh, very good. Pascal triangle. I remember. So what's the next?
15.
Okay. What's the next?
28. 1.
Okay. So look, if n equals
36, then 45,
yeah,
then
if
55.
n is the number of the element, zero here. One n is 1,
Then
is 1.
60,
One n is 2, is 3. So how do you get this? If I want to generalize this, so when n equals
Then 17.
10, what's the answer? How do we get it? Adding one more becomes 15. How do we get 15 here? So if we know here, what we have now is 10. Right? Look, n equals 4, we have 10. If I have one more, n equals 5, why is it 15? Why is it 15? Come on. When n is 4, I have 10. When I add one more 0, what happens? How many more can we get? How do we know it's 15 here? This is 15, right? We need to add 5. So what happened? Why this is 5 coming from? If I add a 0 here, why is it 5 extra? Look, I have a 0 here. If I add 1 0, how many extra? How many extra, right? How many extra?
2.
Why is it 2? Which 2 are extra? Which 2 are extra? I put a 0 here. So which 2 are extra? How do you count it's 3? 0,
The red 0.
0, and
2 zeros.
2 0. Yeah, okay. Okay, so what we have got is the new one, right? We add one more 0 in new one. And the one, the previous one, right? The previous only one connects to it. So that's another one. How about this? Another 2. So if I add one more 0, how many? The original 2 we know is 3, yeah? And then here we have 3 more, becomes 6.
The red 0.
Yeah? What are the other 2?
The one that would begin with red on. And
Yeah, okay, so you see, you get it, yeah? So here and here, right? Yeah, and then here, right? Okay? The same thing go here. I put another 0 here. So what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it? So if I add 1, I have n more. So this is the same thing as 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus n. And then this, we know this. What's this? You know this, huh? 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus till 100. What's the answer? What's the answer? Plus n equals till 100. What's the answer?
5.
5, okay. So this is the sum of I equals 1 to n and I, right? So here n equals 10. So this will be n times n plus 1 divided by 2. Yeah, we talked about that in the early days. How do we get this? So when n equals 4, 4 times 5 divided by 2 equals 10. When n equals 5, what do we get? 5 times 5 plus 1 divided by 2, that's 15, right? We are given an array of integers. So we want to find out how many subarray containing zeros. The previous one, we only have an array with containing all the zeros. Now we have an array with the numbers not necessary to be zeros. So we want to find out the number of a subarray that containing zeros. How do we do it? How many subarrays containing zeros in this case? So what's the approach? I mean, look, I have an array containing numbers not necessary to be zeros. We want to find out how many subarray containing only zeros. So how do we solve this problem?
GroupBy.
Well done, GroupBy. How do we count? So first of all, we count this, right? 2. We know how to count it previously. We can learn how to count it. We just add it together, right? Okay, so how many subarray containing 0? 3, yeah? We know it's 3. How many here? 1. How many 1? Here. 3 plus 1 plus 1, right? Yeah. We use the GroupBy. This is array, right? Array. We talk about this iter tools. From iter tools, import GroupBy. So what do we have? If we have the iter tools, this is the package.GroupBy. We talk about that. GroupBy ARR. So this is the iterator. If we say for A, B in GroupBy, so what is A? It will give us A will be what? When A will be 1, then this is the iterator, okay? Then the B will be the iterator of the actual continuous value, so it will be 1. And then 0 will be 2 0. And then 1 will be 1. Okay? And then 0 will be 1 0. 2 will be 0. And then 0 will be 0. So basically, if we run this iter2 or GroupBy, the A will be the unique values. The B will be pointing to each group. So look, if we have 2 zeros here, so 0 and then it will be 2 zeros. Another example, 2 2 2 3 3 2. Okay, so what do we have? This A will be 2 pointing to 3 2s. But this is an iterator, okay? 3 would be 2 3, and 2 would be 1 2. Okay. So if we go through this, B, the length of the B, right? If we know the length of B, which is n, then we can count how many subarray containing the 0. So it's n plus n times 1 divided by 2, right? We can verify the value when n is 1. 1 times 2 divided by 2 is 1, right? When n is 2, 2 times 3 divided by 2. 2 times 3 divided by 2 equals 3, right? That's one way we use the GroupBy. The code is pretty simple, okay? So let's just read the code out without writing it, okay? So answer equals 0. For A, B in iterate tools.GroupBy array, if, okay, we have to check, if A is 0, right? If A is not 0, we don't count. If A is 0, then n equals length this B. And then answer plus equal n times n plus 1 divided by 2. And that will be, right? Another way would be, we go through the array and we use the counter 0, representing the number of 0 we have met. If it's not 0, we set it to 0, right? If it's 0, we plus equal 1. If I have a 0 here, I have one more 0, then this 0 contributes this number of subarray, right? So look, if I have 3 0 now, right? Z equals 3. I have one more 0, so the total contribution of this 0 is plus what? 3 or 4. Z will be, the number of 0 will be 4. And then the total number of contribution will be plus equal Z, right? So define, okay, count 0. Array answer equals 0. At the beginning, 0 equals 0. For this is the number of continuous 0 we have met so far. For I in array, if I equals 0, right? We have one more 0, then Z plus equal 1. Answer plus equals Z. Else we reset to Z to 0 and return answer. Wow, that's so simple, right? The time complexity, anybody? The time complexity, we're going through this array, O(n), exactly. The state complexity, O(1), yes. So this is one way, okay? Look, Z G here. If we make 1 0, if we make 1 0, this is the number of zeros we have met so far, continuous, right? If it's not 0, we reset it to 0, right? And the answer plus equals 0. Look, 0, we have 1 0, right? G equals 0, so G equals 1, right? The answer will be 1, right? Okay, I have one more 0 now. I have one more 0, so 0 equals 2. Answer plus equals 2. 3. Okay. Now I have 1. So what happened here? This is not 0, so we set this to 0, right? It's not 0. And okay, another 0. What happened? I increment this. Look, I increment this to 1, and the answer plus equals 1. Okay. Okay, your turn. If I have one more 0, what happened? If this is one more 0, what happened to here? This is the number of 0 we have met, right? So we need to plus equal 1, right? So 2 plus equals 2, okay? So if I have one more 0, what happened? What happened? What should we do with these 2?
Change it to 3.
Change it to 3. And then what should we happen to here? Plus what? Plus these, yeah? Plus 3, okay? Got it? Okay, and I have 1 here. What happened? What should we do now? And we set it to 0. Okay? Okay, 0, what happened? Comes another 0, what happened? 1 and plus 1. Another 0, what happened?
2.
2 plus 2, right? Another 0, what happened?
3.
3 plus 3, okay? And then I have 1 here, what happened?
Reset it.
Reset it to 0, okay? This is simple, right? We just set it. This 0 means that the number of zeros, continuous 0, we have now, including the current one. Why we need to plus the z? As we said, 0, we have 1. And if I plus one more 0, we need to plus 2, right? If we have one more 0, we have plus 3, right? If we have one more 0, plus 4, right? Why plus 4? Here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Accumulate. This is one way. The previous one, iter2, GroupBy, right? When we use that function, then we can count how many zeros in one group. If it's n equals list b, okay? For a, b in iter2, GroupBy array, right? And then answer plus equal n times n plus 1 divided by 2, okay? We use the mathematical formula, right? Answer equals 0 and return answer. Okay, 2 ways, easy. Which way you prefer? Okay, last question. Which way you prefer? Which way you think is more easy to understand?
That one.
This one? Using the iter2. Okay. One last question. What's the problem? What have you learned? You know I'm going to ask this question anyway. Okay, so anybody? Ryan, you want to give it a go?
Learned about
Yeah?
how to.
So what's the problem? And what are we doing
There
with
is
it?
a list.
A list of
with
numbers. Yeah?
Numbers.
And then we want
Want
to
to count
how many
zeros.
how many subarrays that containing 0, right? Right? So at the beginning, I show you how to count the number of zeros if it's an array with only zeros, right? And then we just have to count each group of zeros separately and add them together. Am I right? Yeah? Okay. Eric, you want to give it a go? What's the problem and what have you learned so far? What's the approach? Okay.
There's a list of numbers.
A list of numbers, we're done, okay? And
And counting how many subarrays containing 0 and yeah.
okay, that's the problem. And how are we doing it?
By something together G.
Okay, so how would you? Okay, if it's a array containing all zeros and the length is n, how many subarrays? How many subarrays?
Plus 2 plus 3 up to n.
Yeah, the formula is this, right? All we have to do is count zeros in each subarray with only zeros and then add it up together, right? The time to next video and stay convex will be a 1, okay? And that's it for today. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye.